Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm Medium Kim. Thank you for joining today on this video. I'd like to first give everybody a thumbs up for being here. Yay! And I hope you're doing okay. I would like to just start out with a little bit of an infomercial, a little bit about me, what kind of stuff I do, what things I offer, and then I want to go into a little bit about a hospice that had happened, some of the things that happened over the weekend, talking about self-worth. This is something we can all use, and also about dogs and how they grieve, or animals, really. Okay, so first of all, I am a medium. I'm an intuitive. I teach classes. I teach basic intuition development, the clairs. I also teach mediumship. I teach color classes, and probably more yet to come. And I will be starting some new things in June. We'll have a psychic practice circle. So it's called Ignite Your Light, and it's very budget conscious. When one day we'll meet for psychic work and just to practice. And then one day we meet for mediumship, practice. All right, and I also do one-on-one readings with working with your guides, past lives, seeing a pattern with the past lives, looking at your colors, auragraphs where I can draw your aura. Also work with spiritual assessments, meaning I usually use color, and I look at your present, your past, and your future potential for using your spiritual gifts. All right, and of course, mediumship, working with your loved ones, like on the phone, having conversations with your departed loved ones. All right, so now let's talk a little bit about hospice, the hospice weekend that I just experienced. And the dogs. The reason I'm bringing up dogs is because everywhere I went, I saw dogs, usually 2 and sometimes 5 dogs at a time. So dogs grieve differently from each other, just like humans grieve differently from each other. Dogs sometimes are very Velcro when somebody's dying in that process. And then as soon as they die, they go away. It's like, okay, it's all done. And then they leave and they do something else. Some dogs act like they don't know what's going on, but you know they do. Like they're there more often. And sometimes I have to work my way through the dog to get to the patient because there's such a guard. They're working in their guardsmanship. Cats often will find the person who's dying and be with that person. Now, as if you're at a facility, if the person dying has a cat, or if there's somebody in the facility that has the cat, you know, the cat's picked out the one who's going to die. Happens every time. Well, yeah, most of the time. They know who's going to die. Now, over the weekend, I saw dogs experience grief differently. So one man who had a beloved dog, right? I had to, again, walk through, I think this is a hound, a kind of a reddish brown hound, about a 50-pound, a beautiful, beautiful dog. But very, let me see here, particular about what I did. You could tell the dog didn't want me to do anything unusual, like with the feet or, putting the nose in, seeing what I'm doing, my little helper, right? When the man passed, the dog went up and smelled the breath and then gone, new, right? And I've seen this before. This has happened a lot. Again, but throughout, and then after death, the dog would come back, smell, and go away again. So, I guess it's a confirmation. The other dog they had, which was a lab mix, always with a green ball in his mouth, is a yellow lab, acted like it didn't really faze this dog. But the thing is, the dog knew, because the dog was there a lot pre-death, and then after death, the dog was not really around. So that's interesting. I was at another home where the woman is not actively dying. She didn't die, but she's in bed, and her 2 big dogs, the flat coated retriever, beautiful big black dogs, they were right there again, just watching everything and just really keeping an eye, making sure I was doing it right. Then I saw another woman who had just passed. She had 5 dogs, and 2 of the dogs stayed by her. The other 3 stayed on the floor after she passed. So that was interesting too. So again, just like people, we're all different. You know, some of the stages of grief are shock, anger, denial, and then there's finally acceptance. I think I'm missing something. Anyway, and men grieve differently than women. So men will often find things to do for their grief. They'll work in the yard, or they'll go run errands, or they'll go, they'll have projects. And women tend to talk about it, or maybe they go into a reclusive state, a withdrawn state, and then have the acceptance. And then, so everybody's different. So just know that. And just like people, dogs grieve differently, and cats as well. So I just want to share that with you. It's kind of interesting. And I want to say what I also came across this weekend that I think relates to everybody is that we don't think we're good enough. I ran into some caregivers, which when I say caregiver, I mean the person taking care of the one who's dying, and it's usually the spouse. They felt like they weren't doing a good job. And I was like, what? You're doing an amazing job. I mean, they were doing everything just right. They were keeping the records. They were giving the meds on time. They were doing everything. They're so gentle and loving, everything just right. Yet they felt like they weren't doing a good enough job. And I think this is what we see so much in our world every day. People don't feel like they are good enough. And I want to remind you that we as humans are unlimited light. Please do not put yourself in a box and make yourself small. We are light beyond measure. So if you imagine the whole sky is light, how can you put that in a box, right? It's unlimited. Light is unlimited, and do not limit the unlimited, as Colin Bates would tell me. So I just thought that was very interesting. And I think we can say this throughout the world, really. Most of us feel like we're not good enough, or for whatever reason. It could be your teachers, your parents. We were born this way. We're carrying this from a past life, this sort of feeling. So, and even if we feel worthy, we still can't even imagine the power that we have. I worked with a lady today. It was wonderful working with her. And we could just go right up to the Akashic records. We could go right and meet her guides. And they kept saying, you are unlimited power. And I've seen this over and over. When somebody imagines something, it shows up in their field just like that. If somebody meditates, for instance, and they're always running their energies up and down, at least for me, I see it. I can see that or feel it, right? I usually see it. And if they're down in the dumps, people who are sensitive, you can feel this, right? So energy moves just like that. And just remember that we are all energy. We can manifest really pretty much anything, it feels like nowadays. So I want you to know, please pat yourself on the back, everybody. We're all doing the best we can. And send love out. It's all about love. Send your love out to others. It just takes a second, and to send it out to the world. And that's all for now, y'all. Bye-bye. Thank you.